Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here on YouTube, and welcome to another Wednesday review. Today I am reviewing the debut album from Riverside, California based Cosmic power metal band Kosmic Dragon, and the album here is titled The Galactic Hammer, which was independently released both digitally and physically on CD on May 29th of this year. So, Kosmic Dragon. Again, they are based out of Riverside, California, like I said, and they were formed all the way back in 2019. And this right here is their sole full-length album because it's the only thing they've released so far. So, without further ado, let me get into my thoughts on their right now their first album, The Galactic Hammer. Okay, so before I really get into any of my thoughts on this particular album, you know what I have to do? I have to do a track listing rundown so I can tell you folks what are the songs on this album, how many songs are on this album, and what is the time length for this album. And since we have at least about 12 songs total, it all clocks in at 52 minutes and 18 seconds. So these 12 songs are Welcome Aboard, Curse of Destruction, King of the Monsters, Black Science, Secret of Steel, Legacy of Icarus, Astral War, Cosmic Rings, Sorcerer from the Sky, Guardians of Bajorl? I guess that's what it means, Bajorl, I think, or Jorl, I don't know, fuck it. Arrival of the Technobots, yeah, Arrival of the Technobots is what it's called. And then finally ending with Timeless Spheres. Yeah, Timeless Spheres, so Timeless, whatever, fuck. So there you go, there's your 12 songs. Again, you probably already could tell what the songs are anyways, and what they're titled on your screen. So there we go, there's your 12 songs. So, since you probably can get the gist already from the overall the track listing, especially for the titles of the songs and some of the time lengths, you can tell that this is obviously a concept album, and it obviously is story driven. So I guess, but before we really get into any of the songs on the album, I'm going to at least run down the whole gist of the story. And what I've seemed to gather about the story here is that it seems to involve a fictitious space vessel that bears the band's name and is to be capable of time travel. The space vessel is used bringing in human tourists looking to first-hand witness fictitious history. However, there is a malfunction and the ship's crew and passengers are thrown into a fantasy dimension where the tourists witness such events such as the rise of Godzilla, the exploitation of Conan the Barbarian, and a number of crazy hybrid scenarios of magic and technology advancements that could describe a number of popular B-movie science fiction flicks from the heydays of the mid to late 1970s and early 1980s. So that's pretty much the whole entire gist of the story and the overall concept of the album. As far as the songs go, since there's 12 songs, here's how I basically ran down or totaled up at least some of the songs here. There are basically a total of 8 metal songs and a total of 4 synth-based instrumentals. Some are pretty short. There's at least 2 instrumentals here that are very short. Again, being Welcome Aboard, which is the album that basically the song that begins the album, and of course, Arrival of the Technobots, which obviously clocks in at 1 minute and 25 seconds. But there is at least really pretty longer based sort of instrumental tracks, of being Legacy of Icarus and Timeless Spheres, which obviously are all used to somewhat either continue or somewhat end at least the story that they're trying to tell with the album. But they're, again, most of the time, in terms of connecting the dots to at least the story, a lot of some of these 8 actual metal songs, which basically are almost your standard power metal, but I guess you could say it very much fits the sort of concept that they're coming up with, which is basically cosmic power metal. Each of these songs do seem to really kind of fit that description. And again, like I said, they're almost your standard sort of US power metal. Very interesting, different. God definitely has a sort of European influence, but that's the best way I can describe these songs. As any songs that really seem to really stand out to me on this album has to be King of the Monsters. Obviously, it's one that is definitely, you know, it's self-explanatory. It's one that is definitely inspired by the likes of, well, Godzilla and a lot of the kaiju Toho studio monsters. And it's a great track, though. It's definitely my personal favorite off the album. Of course, I love me some fucking Godzilla. So there we go. Again, as far as, again, a lot of the instrumentals, they are just really there to really just to kind of keep the story going. A lot of them, they got, you know, spoken word stuff going around. Very cinematic. It's very interesting, and again, it definitely fits the theme of what they're coming up with. Though that's basically the best way I can come up with anything for this review. It's a fine album overall. It's solid. For a debut album, again, it's fine. So, there we go. There's my thoughts on the Galactic Hammer from Kosmic Dragon. I know it feels a little bit abrupt. Sorry, having trouble speaking words here for some fucking reason. Anyways, that pretty much just ends my entire thoughts on here, and basically what I'm going to give it here as far as a rating is a 7.54 out of 10. So again, it's a very solid album, but you can tell that in terms of their concept, to me, everything does feel a little bit kind of janky in some ways. Again, they're just here already kind of coming up with the sort of basic concept of what they're about, basically, in terms of just getting the whole idea around. And I think this album you definitely do get a little bit of that. You do get that. But I feel like they will definitely strengthen up their like the songwriting structures and the overall concept. I think everything will be strengthened more and more with each album if they continue on. I hope they do continue on. There's definitely a lot of potential for something really interesting. If cinematic cosmic power metal sounds like something you might be into, I will definitely leave you a link to, of course, their Bandcamp page where you can purchase this album for at least $10. Again, if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, again, you can definitely find the link in the description box below. So there you go. Hope all of you enjoyed. This is Heavy Thrash saying I am out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.